And I wanted to tell you as well that all the photos that you see are actually taken at the venue. None of them are stock photography. We had, luckily in our midst in September, we actually had another acupuncturist who's a fantastic photographer. So most of what you see is stuff that she's taken, which is absolutely brilliant. I put this event together because people have been nagging me to run retreats for a long, long time. And one particular lady, she's a menopause nutritionist. Oh, you do retreats. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? And one of you, my patient, and you know that I like to talk. So, but I couldn't think what the subject matter would be. And so I've realized that most people understand what a yoga retreat is, or a mindfulness retreat maybe, or a silent retreat, or whatever. But when it comes to Chinese medicine, it's just, what's going to happen on that retreat? And even one of my patients that came said to me, well, she said she nearly cancelled several times in the lead up because she was worried. But she said that she was worried what was going to happen at a Chinese medicine retreat. And so it dawned on me, of course, that I know what I'm talking about, but that other people don't. So it's a good idea to share what the vision is and what we got up to. And actually, one of us on the call right now was with me last year. So she's come along to have a look at the photos and see what's new. So yeah, this is my whole explanation of what we get up to over the 6 days. And I wanted to remind everybody as well that the word retreat gets bandied around a lot, in much the same way that stress does, and we kind of lose the meaning of what it actually means. And the definition of it is to withdraw, to heal, or to take great pleasure. And for me, that was just the very basis of what I wanted to do, and how I wanted people to feel that there was some element of healing, but there was also a lot of pleasure to be had as well. And many of the reviews and testimonials I've had talk a lot about the humor that we shared, because health is our wealth, but laughing and sharing companionship and being humorous about life, for me, is really, really important. So hello, this is one of my favorite pictures of Molino Del Rey. It's just stunning. The resort centre itself is across several layers, because it's built directly into the mountainside. And this was one of the top layers. And I think the guy that owned the retreat had only just finished making this just before we arrived. And it was a firm favourite. If you ever wandered past, you'd find somebody just swinging backwards and forwards and looking at this view. Utterly stunning. What I'm going to do for this presentation, just so that you know, is the first part's going to be a little bit about the location and a bit about the retreat centre, and then I'm going to go on to what the content, what we talked about, what the workshops were about, the sort of day plan that you can expect to see, and some more reviews and things about what people found about the food and the beds and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you get a feel for the space. The photography itself is stunning and beautiful, but the feel when you are actually there is off the scale. It is the most incredible space I have ever been in myself. When I walked into the yogashala, the yoga room, when I was being shown around, all the hairs on my arm stood on end. I was like, oh my God, what is this? This place is insane. It just has the most incredible energy there. And the owner sort of said to us, well, I mean, apart from the fact the place was built with love into the mountainside, he said to us, we just have so many amazing healers here that the energy is just constantly rebooted. And, that's why it feels so amazing. So hopefully you get a good enough feel, but obviously the biggest feel will be if you're there. And I hope that, I appreciate it's a really big investment in time and money to join me on the retreat. So I hope that you get a really good understanding of what happens while we're there. So not everybody watching this knows me. I'm Jo Darling. I'm an acupuncturist. I've been practicing for, well, close on 15 years, really. I call myself a Chinese medicine practitioner because acupuncture is based on the principles of Chinese medicine, and these are the principles through which, by which we live, and through which we choose our acupuncture points. So there's a real deep basis in Chinese medicine, and that's where the richness is, and that's where the learning is, and that's where a lot of the workshop information comes from. I'm continually growing and continually training. It's a bit of a standing joke now that I can't seem to stop training. Currently doing a diploma in Chinese nutritional therapy and a thing called Yang Sheng, which I'll talk about later. And I've already got my eyes set on a healing modality called Bu Qi, which I'm going to start next March, overlapping this diploma, because of course you couldn't just do things in a straightforward way. But hopefully by May, I'll be able to share some of that amazing knowledge with you. And a little on Chinese medicine. It's the oldest and most used medicine in the world. That surprises people sometimes, but it's not really that surprising when you think about the size of China. And it is this whole system, as I mentioned. There's this basis, this basic premise everything is based on. And then you have acupuncture, then you have massage in the form of tuina or cupping, if you've ever seen cupping, and herbal medicine, obviously. Nutritional medicine is a big part of it, as is qigong, which is can be a medical form of moving meditation, which we practiced while we were away. I keep everything really, really simple and practice to the easiest level, because I want everyone to enjoy it. I don't want anyone to be put off by, these words like qigong and yin and yang and that, because they sometimes make Chinese medicine sound a bit out there. And although it probably is to many of you and not so much to me, because it's what I do every day, it really is very simple and based in nature, and you can get the most rich rewards from the most simple things. My yoga teacher, which obviously isn't Chinese medicine, always says, one of the best postures in yoga is the one where you just stand like a mountain and you literally just stand, because there's so much in that. You don't have to be pulling amazing shapes and reaching out for something. No, where you is what's important, and that's kind of my philosophy too. So this whole retreat really is based on principles of Chinese medicine, but I use 3 words when I talk about it. It's about relaxation, restoration, and revitalization. So how many of us actually get the chance to relax? There's many stresses and strains and things that are required of us, whether that just be walking a dog or deciding what to do on a Friday night, or holding down a job and running a household. It doesn't matter what our level is, we've always got demands. And what you find when you come to Molino Del Rey, as someone said, it's up and down on the plane, 40 minutes to get there, and you're in paradise. It's an opportunity to totally let go. Everything is done for you-ish. I mean, we'd have to wash up a few cups sometimes, and you'd have to get yourself out of bed, that kind of thing. But for the most part, everything is done. The big things, the decisions about what you're going to eat, etc., they're all done. So you get to relax, and then you get to restore. Once you've let go, you can then restore and build back up. And finally, the sprinkles on the top of the cake are revitalize. So come back into your vital element. And this is the progress that we make across the days. We don't necessarily go, have we relaxed, tick, have we restored, tick. It's just an underpinning theme of what we do. And often when we come back, we create a little ripple. I love the R's, creating a little ripple effect, so that even those around us are benefiting from our time away. And I think that's a wonderful argument for anyone that needs to justify their going away to other people. Not that you should have to, but sometimes we do. So that's the sort of underpinning 3 R's for us on the retreat. So location wise, well, look at that. That's another stunning picture. Again, we've got the light coming up there over the mountains. We're facing sunrise, as you'll see later in a little video we've got, but the sun rises and that's what we're facing in the morning, and then it sets over the mountain that the retreat centre is built into over the back. So this is the Andalucian mountains. It's in a nature reserve, which Sierra del Neves, I think that's how you say it. Again, 3 different aspects here of the mountains. Interesting that they actually line up, that middle one and the one on the right. I didn't intend that, but it's not the same mountain range, I don't even think, but they line up. And you can see the different colors that you get at the different times of day, and it's just stunning. You are surrounded in mountains. And this is, as I said, it's only around about an hour away from Malaga airport. So very, very convenient for those of us who live, well, anyone that lives near an airport, but many of us are in Gatwick. And so it's very, very easy to get to, a great location. And just so you know, transfers and everything can be arranged. We have to pay a bit of extra for it, but I try and do it. I try and give you the flight details so that we can all try and arrange at a similar time and everyone can transfer together if that's what you want to do. So the Molino Del Rey is the name of the retreat centre. It's based in a tiny hamlet called Horrocks. I prefer to pronounce that Joe Rocks. That's just a little bit of ego going in there. It's just a really gorgeous tiny little place that has one bar. It doesn't even have any shops. We did a couple of little walks around. Apparently it gets wild at certain times of the year. There was a waterfall right next to the place. People would go there for swimming on holidays and things, but the water's dried up in that particular place. So it doesn't get as Leery, I don't think, and it certainly isn't Leery while we're there. So stunning, stunning, stunning location. And the air that you're breathing, this is the other thing. All you have to do really is be there, because you breathe the air, and as you're about to see, you drink the water, which is coming straight from a mountain spring that the retreat centre is actually built on. And the owner told us that there was, what did he tell us? I think there's butterflies and no, plants and flowers or something, flowers and birds in the water. Actually showed us a picture of it. But what he didn't know was we had a neuroscientist in our group who looked at the picture and went, I don't think so. But anyway, we liked the idea that we were drinking plants and butterflies and all sorts, and it made us feel good. So, but the water is gorgeous. It is exceptional. The retreat centre is regarded as one of the world's best retreat centres, certainly one of the best in Spain. And as I mentioned, it's built by hand with love, actually into the side of the mountain on the spring of the river at Rio Grande. It's called Molino Del Rey, which translates as King Mill. So as you would expect, it was built on the site of a mill, hence the strength of the water that's coming down. And actually within a lot of I think it's in the caves, there's a few millstones still there that you can see from its past. The retreat centre has also been featured on the BBC and in Hello Magazine and all that, that sort of thing. And it's just, as I say, it's just a stunning place that it's hard to imagine unless you're there almost. You can see like the swimming pool there on the left-hand side. That's a picture taken at night, and it goes actually into part of the caves there. And as you saw at the beginning shot, there is water that comes down into the pool. That's the swinging seat that everybody loved. It's one of the bedrooms in the middle. Talk a little bit more about the accommodation in a second. There is a treatment room there, because the woman who owns the retreat alongside, there's a couple that own it. She's a superb massage therapist, amongst other things. So we all had a massage while we were there, and it was incredible. And then you can see to the right, there's a few mosaics, and there's a hammock right in the end there. You're going to see a few more hammocks in a minute. So the accommodation is truly, truly luxury. And again, another of my must-have things about this retreat was that I wanted it to be accessible to everybody, whether that be someone on their own or someone sharing or someone coming with a partner. We had every variety of person there, really. We had in the last retreat, we had a husband and wife, a mother and daughter, a few of us singletons, a couple of people with friends. So it was a really beautiful mix. So yeah, the accommodation, ensuites in every single room. The beds are really comfortable, and there's AC in every room, there's ceiling fans in every room, tea making facilities, safes, hairdryers, and all the towels you need. I get very excited about the towels, because it means you don't have to take your towel for the water, and you will be in water if you like it. So yeah, you don't need to take a towel, hurrah, or a hairdryer, and you can see that's something that I also need. The food is absolutely wonderful, cooked by our very own chef every day, Simone. He's worked there for over 30 years, can you believe it? And then for breakfast and dinner, it's served buffet style, and breakfast is a mixture of everything, really. It goes from hummus to porridge to make your own toast. And then dinner is often a curry or something. It's all plant-based, and it is delicious. Lunchtime is slightly different. It's more, well, it's what we haven't eaten for breakfast and dinner, which sounds like it's a load of old leftovers, but it's actually plenty of food, and superb. And the icing on the cake is a cake. Simone makes us a fresh cake every day that we have at lunchtime as well, and I'll show you some pictures of those in a bit. So you don't expect to go hungry. I know other people have talked to me about retreats they've been on where food was not, there wasn't a great deal of food. The food at this retreat is amazing, nutritious, and plentiful. The water there is really therapeutic. So not only do we have this really fresh water that we're drinking, and what are we, 80% water? So if all we did was drink really good water and drink really beautiful fresh air, then we would come away feeling pretty healed on its own. So you get to drink this amazing water. There's also the pool, as I mentioned, is salt water, which means there's no nasties in the pool in terms of its filtration system. And in fact, we know, those of us who live on the south coast, how therapeutic salt water is. So in every aspect, you've got this beautiful opportunity to enjoy water. And we even, as you'll see, sat in the waterfall as it comes down. It's quite not full on. It was funny, let's put it that way. We all got in and had quite a good laugh. It's not slippery. It looks slippery. Oh, I'm going to slip in that, but it's not. It just feels amazing. Cold, but good fun. On their thoughts and what they liked about the retreat is that it's exclusively ours. So no other groups there. You can actually take around probably 25 people, but I never intend to take that many. The plan is to take around 14 people this time. And it's set across, I think it's I'm pretty sure it's 4 or 5. There's a kind of layer that he hadn't quite finished yet. And so there's somewhere that you can go all the time. It's perfect for being with other people or being on your own, and you've got a view wherever you go. Loads of nooks and crannies, really got in mind that people will want to spend some time, reflecting on what they're doing or reading a book or, whatever, just being quiet. So there's tons and tons of space, and you'll never need to be alone unless you want to be, in which case people are very good at respecting that requirement. So let's have a quick look at the rooms, pictures of all of them. It is possible, if there's a particular room that you like the look of, and everyone should have we'll get the brochure. I'll send it in the email I send out tomorrow with the recording. It is possible to ask for which room that you want. Can't guarantee it, but I can put it against your requirements. Obviously, you don't need to ask for an ensuite because everyone's got one. There is one room which is actually just a single room, and all the rest can be twins. Well, not, they can't all be twins. No, they are all twins, sorry, but they can't all be doubles. So I've already got a couple of requests in for rooms, so they're already noted. But if there's something that you particularly want, then do let me know. And there they all are. There's all the rooms. These are the main rooms on the main site. There is over spillover rooms as well, but we won't need to use those. Here's a look at the lovely, delicious food. The top left one, see this one with the brown and the white on it, that really made me chuckle because it was the day that we were talking about yin and yang in the workshop. And for those that don't know, yin and yang is all about opposites, black and white. And this cake came out. I was like, oh my God, it's a yin and yang cake. It was like he was listening. And then the next day we were talking about the heart and the emotions of the heart and how the heart works. And then, oops, hold on a second. And then out comes these beautiful little heart-shaped cakes. And, he couldn't possibly have known, but it was just wonderful, really wonderful. And you can see, there's a fair bit. There's a little picture there of the gang having I think that was on the last day. There's not many pictures of us eating because we were so busy eating, we weren't really thinking about taking photographs. And there's another picture of us sitting outside there as well under the canopy. We mostly ate outside. It was September. It was warm enough. I imagine May will be the same. Although you could sit inside if you preferred. There's the blue seats there that you can see. There's kind of an area in there where there's a what do you call it, bar. I've forgotten the name, but you know what I mean. Where you just put the money in. It's not a trust bar. I'm menopausal. It's whatever it is. You put the money in and whatever, take what you need. And there's a few snacks and stuff like that around there as well. There's also Lydia, whose retreat centre has a few little dresses and some jewelry that a lot of people really loved. She doesn't charge extra for them. She's just, when she travels, she brings things back. So lots there for everybody. This is a lovely quote from Diane, one of the ladies that came on the retreat. I actually took one of the words out because she told me she was a vegetarian virgin, and I decided that might not be to everybody's taste, but that's what she told me. And she says the food was the best ever. I'd never eaten a vegetarian food until I came on the retreat, and I had been worried that I'd be hungry. I've never felt so happy and fulfilled with the meals we ate. Simone, the chef, excelled. And he really did. And what a lovely guy he was as well. He was, well, didn't speak much English, but he was just a pleasure to have around. He'd come in the morning and he'd come down and he'd be there. And he cleared up breakfast and dinner, and we just washed up whatever we used at lunchtime. So again, some retreats you go on, you know, you're loading up the dishwasher and unloading it yourself. None of that, but you do have to rinse your plate at lunchtime. But apart from that, as long as you get it back to him within a certain time, it's all good. It's all taken care of. The saltwater pool, which I've already mentioned, have another listen. I miss that sound. I really do. I really miss that sound. And it's just beautiful. What can I say? All these stunning photographs, except for the bottom left one, were all taken by Caroline while we were there. I think when she was taking the ones of the water hitting the water, at one point, I think people were a bit worried about her because she was lying down trying to do it. She's very artistic. But yeah, it's wonderful, the saltwater pool. I wouldn't say it's hugely warm, but it was just the right temperature, I think, for us. You know, the sun was shining and it was just delicious to get in there. And the spring waterfall, I don't think that is a video, sadly. I have got one somewhere, but you can see there, there's a couple of us in there. And also, if you look at the bottom left, oh no, the middle left, sorry, the middle and the bottom column, you can see where the water's coming through there, through that gap. That's the sort of source of where it's coming from, and it just flows throughout the whole of the center. So it's, you know, mostly on the boundaries, but that's why you can hear it wherever you are, really. These are the caves. I'm going to play this little video for you. Just shows you, takes you into the caves. This is one of the caves. You can hear the water, right? So it's just a small cave, this one. You go inside and you can see the light there. Obviously that changes, someone is meditating in there. That light changes as the sun comes up and as it changes throughout the day. You can see some of the texture there of the actual cave, and that's your view. You're looking at the mountainside and the lush vegetation. It's absolutely stunning. If you close the door there, you don't get to hear the water quite so much. That, as I mentioned, that's quite a small cave. You can see us all in there. We went in to do a little bit of breath work. Again, if you've never meditated, don't be, I'm not a huge meditation, experienced meditation person. If you've never done it, don't worry about it. Meditation is just breathing and, you know, clearing your mind. So we go to whatever level you go to, and even if what you want to do is just sit in there and sit with others or sit on your own, several people would often go in there on their own and just sit, and that was fine. You know, it's your space, exclusively ours. So if that's what you want to do and just go and sit in there, then that's really wonderful. Ari said the caves are unbelievable. For me, the most amazing place was in the caves. There are two, one that offers a cooling shelter, which wasn't the one you just seen from the heat, as well as a shortcut to the yoga hall. I'm just about to show you that one. And the other place, a place to reflect and meditate and take in the energy of the place. And the energy in there really is truly amazing. So I'm just going to show you a little video of the cooling cave. So it's not the best because it's quite narrow in there, a narrow pathway. I'm actually claustrophobic, but I went in there no problem at all. There's lights everywhere. But because you're up and down steps, it's not easy to get a flowing video of it. So just bear with, you get the general gist of what's going on. There's all sorts of nooks and crannies here. So coming up here, and you see all the little lights there. There's actually a yin yang in there. I wish I'd got a video of that. And you can see the texture of the cave. So this is really cool in here. I mean, cool as in temperature. And I went in there the first night after we'd done we did yoga nidra on the first night. And I sat very quietly and a bat came in to see me. Apparently that's good luck. And then these are the steps down, and then you're going to see what's off to the left here. It's actually, this is the yoga shala where we do our workshops, and if we're doing qigong or breath work, whatever inside. Can you hear the water? It sounds like it's full on all the time, but I think, Jen, you'd agree with me. It wasn't like that all the time. You didn't, you weren't like, oh my God, it's just a beautiful backdrop. let me show you some of the unique and beautiful things around. So there's just, look at that fantastic peacock. There's paintings and mosaics everywhere. The flowers are just beautiful. The gardener is there every week tending to it. We had a bit of a debate about whether they were lemons, limes, or oranges. I think we came to the conclusion that the ones there on the right hand column were oranges. Excuse me. And so it's just lush and stunning, and just, you are living in nature. It's just wonderful. Caroline says there's beauty around every corner, brimming with beautiful plants, stunning mosaics, and filled with gorgeous fragrances. The sound of water traveling around the centre was really therapeutic, not to mention the comfortable day beds, hammocks, and swinging chairs. Heaven on earth. And as if by magic, here are the hammock. I think there's 4 or 5 hammocks. This is the water again. It's me just before my massage, just in the hammock. And look, you can see to the right there, that's where the water is coming from. And the little detail that I really love about this hammock that you can just about see is this white cord, little string. So all you have to do is pull yourself, just a tiny little pull, and you get this beautiful rocking, just stunning. So there's hammocks everywhere. You can see that's 3 I can see there, and lots of different. You can see there's a day bed there on the left hand side. Loads of sunbeds around and about, dotted all over the show. There's one in the right hand, the far right corner, right at the bottom there, that looked like a little house. We had threatened to put somebody in there if they didn't behave, and you just pull the curtain across. Just lovely, you know, just all these really beautiful little touches that make it so comfortable, so comfortable. And this is one of my favorite quotes, and this is from Sasha. She said, the experience has been more than I could have ever hoped for. And she goes on, and we'll have a look at that quote later, but I think there was I don't really know what I was expecting, and I'm not sure that anyone else knew what they were expecting either. I think we were all looking forward to relaxing and resting and revitalizing, but what came through for so many people was so much more profound than that. And Sasha's actually done me a little video, so we'll listen to her in her own words later, talk about how it affected her and has changed her since she's back. So a little bit about Chinese medicine for those of you that don't know, moving into less about the retreat centre now, but more about what we actually did while we were there. This is the beautiful cake that was made for us, as I mentioned, the yin yang cake. And as I said, Chinese medicine is this whole medical system. It's really based on observing nature. So living in nature is just so important for us to observe and see the changing seasons and what's happening with the flowers and the plants. Is just really important for us. I love talking about Chinese medicine. I'm passionate about translating it into everyday parlance if I can. It's such a complex subject, and it can be so contra to how we live in the Western world. Because we view things from such a different lens, and that's what I really get excited about. You know, health isn't just something that we talk about. It's something that we can really engage in. And our health might sound a bit trite, but you know, our health really is our wealth. So coming away and considering your health while taking care of your health seems to me a really beautiful fit. So you can see in these pictures here, I'm there with all my notes because I'm a prolific needer of notes, terrible memory, as you've already clocked. And so, this is where we would sit for our workshops, really comfortable, got all the yoga props there. You can lie down, sit up, stand up, do whatever you like. There's chairs there if you need them. You can see, I'll show a video of it in a minute, a little bit of Qigong. So we're all standing there on the mountains, on the decking, looking at the mountains. There's a picture there of group acupuncture. So the idea is, and actually this I'm really excited about, it transpires that when we go in May, it's the change of season. And if there's one time I tell people to come for preventative treatment, it's the change of season. So our bodies need to adjust between going from, as it will be for us, from spring into summer. So we have these specific dates, and around those specific dates, we use specific acupuncture points to help the body energy flow. And we also do specific Qigong around these times to help the energy flow. So when I realized I'd got the dates around this change of season, it's like, Oh, well, we'll do a whole session, a whole workshop on understanding how we move with ease from spring into summer. And your group acupuncture session will be focused on not only relaxation, but helping your energy move from one season to another. So I totally blown away by that. I hope it makes sense to you. I'm so excited about it. I think I can barely explain it properly. But the idea is, someone said, oh, what is group acupuncture? It's not where you all put needles in each other. The idea is that I split the groups up, actually, so it wasn't 10 people in a room. We had 5 people in a go, and then I went around and put the needles in. I get everyone's health history before they come, so I know who you are and what your needs are. And then we can have a chat before the treatment, so if there's anything in particular. But it's not a treatment for buttock pain or back pain or whatever. You need a separate treatment for that. It's a treatment where you can lie in a room with everybody else and we're all receiving a similar kind of treatment. So, but it's a really lovely addition to your well-being and the retreat to have that. You can also see people lying down there. That's we did a lot of yoga nidra, which I can talk about. But for those of you that don't know about yoga nidra, I will mention it now. Actually, it's not a moving thing. Yoga nidra is where you lie really comfortably and you are talked through your body, awareness around your body, and it's profoundly calming and it's just the most beautiful thing. I didn't plan to, but we ended up doing it 3 times because we all loved it so much. I loved doing it and everybody loved receiving it, so we did that. We did it. That's the thing we do on the first night, so we don't do anything else on the first day other than just arrive at the center, find our bearings, although I did get lost for probably 2 or 3 days. I didn't know where I was going because there's so many walkways and it's just I didn't really want to know where I was, to be honest. It was so much nicer just to be out of the rhythm of everything. But that we had dinner together, and that evening we got comfortable, we lay down and we did this yoga nidra, and then everybody trotted off to bed. It was dark by the time we finished. There's fairy lights all around the centre. It's just beautiful and never far away to your bedroom. So, and then we all had a really beautiful night's sleep from that. So yeah, that was yoga nidra. You'll see there's a picture of everybody standing down there. I'll refer back to that when I get on to the Batsa and the astrology, but everyone had their own special meditation stance that I taught them as well, which was wonderful. And there's Antonia reading the book, because everybody, I take my books with me, and if you want to, you can read more and digest more at your own pace. So all I ask really is that you come with an open heart and mind, and really, you can take part in anything, and anything you'll get something from anything. Just be open to it. The whole retreat is curated so that it should be effortless for you. Nothing should be an uncomfortable challenge. From qigong in the mountains to acupuncture in the evenings, it's fully immersive in Chinese medicine. The other premise that the whole retreat is based on is this idea that if we do everything at the right time, one day will seem like 3. And it was really fascinating. One of the participants in their review said to me, oh, 5 days felt like 15. And they hadn't even really clocked that I was trying to expand time 3 times. And that's exactly what we did. I'll explain more about that in just a sec. But just to let you know that the basics of the Chinese medicine work that we'll do are Chinese clock framework. That's my next slide. I'll tell you about that in just a second, because that's what makes sense of this whole retreat. Then the workshops. So we had workshops every day. I show you a sample of our timings so you can see where they were. I did 2 workshops around the Chinese clock because that was the premise of why we were there. And I'll explain what that means when I get to the Chinese clock. But we did 2 workshops on that. We did a workshop on our Chinese astrology, and everybody got their own chart created for them, and they got to learn about their signature energy, so they knew how to make the most of it. I'll tell you more about that in a sec. And then we did qigong and breath work as well. So these were the main elements of Chinese medicine that we were working with. So this Chinese clock you hear me speak of, it creates this beautiful framework for the day. This is actually an old mouse pad. Does anyone have those anymore? From when I graduated, so it's a bit scruffy. And what you'll notice on there, it's a 24-hour day, and each there's 2 hour segments on the clock there, and each of those 2 hours has a different energy attached to it relating to a different organ. And the organs in Chinese medicine have quite different jobs to the ones they have in Western medicine, and they also always have an emotion attached to them. So they're very whole in terms of what they do. So the stomach is a really good example. Between 7 and 9, this is when the stomach energy is the strongest. The stomach is part of earth, and earth nourishes us. And so the stomach's job is to receive food and begin this digestive process. And the energy being strongest between 7 and 9 indicates we should be having breakfast at that time. And then to shift it around the other way between 7 and 9 at night time, this tells us the stomach energy is the weakest. So we should really have eaten before we get to 7 o'clock. So every 2 hours is a different organ, and every 2 hours is a time to do a different thing. And this is what you're going to learn about. I'm going to explain to you what you need to be doing at different times of day. And actually, as I mentioned, a retreat is curated around doing those things, or giving you suggestions for doing those things. There's no whip. You don't have to do anything. You even don't have to come to workshops if you just want to go and lie in the sun. I'm cool with that. I know how that feels. But, even better if you can come. So yeah, and you're probably thinking, oh my Lord, so what do I need to be doing, at sleep time? At sleep time, you need to be sleeping. Even though that relates to, ironically, the organs of movement. What you'll learn on the retreat is it's a different kind of movement, but the body needs that time to replenish itself. So we can talk about that in a lot, well, we do talk about that in a lot more detail on the retreat. So each 2 hours, different organ. Now, this is a sample of the daily schedule that we followed. I hope you can read that, because I know that I can't. So in the morning, you'll notice, okay, some of these times don't necessarily fit with what I just said. I used a little bit of poetic license. Spain was an hour ahead, and I didn't want everybody having to get up really early on their retreat. So we kind of worked to UK timings in my head. You didn't need to worry about that. For the purpose of the Chinese clock, if that makes sense. So a couple of mornings during our stay there, we went straight onto the decking, and we did some really simple meridian stretching, which is this type of qigong. Very, very, very simple. And what's lovely about that is it's so simple that I think a lot of people have brought it home with them. So something you can bring into your everyday life. And it's literally, we're just tracing the meridians, learning where the meridians are in our body, but breathing in the beautiful mountain air. And as you'll see in one of the videos, the sun came up while we were doing it at one point. It was just absolutely beautiful. Then we have breakfast at 10 o'clock, as I say, buffet style. So we sat outside, although some of us did sit indoors. And then we'd have the workshop at 11 o'clock, lasting for an hour, usually with a half-hour extra sort of practical session. So what I didn't want was for people to be sat for an hour just like glued to what I was saying. They needed to be a bit more, doing stuff. So there's always a doing element to it. So whether that be I'm teaching you about the water element and the kidneys, which means I'm going to teach you where the main kidney point is on the body, and we're going to rub it. And we talk perhaps about oils that you can put on your feet, or on your kidney meridian. We talk possibly about what the emotions are and how we deal with those things. So I, as I said earlier, I like to tell you what these things are, but I also like to make it into a usable form of self-care, that if it resonates and it helps, you can take it home. I once went on a yoga retreat, and the teacher was, I've been thinking about this, he was French Canadian, and this doesn't sound like him at all, but he'd say, if you like it, take it home. And that's what I kept saying all throughout the retreat: if you like it, take it home. So if the stuff that you really resonate with, you've got to bring home some tools for yourself. So yeah, so every day at that time, because that's the time that our brain is best, that time in the day. So that's why we do that. And then we have some free time, and then there's a couple of hours after that, there's lunch and cake, and then free time for most of the afternoon. And then again, what I did with the 5 o'clock things, wellness activities that could be breath work in the caves, whatever. I alternated that, so you didn't have a morning and a wellness activity in the afternoon. And actually, it's up for discussion, but we did say that some people would like to have had a whole afternoon and evening off because they'd like to have seen the surrounding areas. So that can be built in as well. I felt that we were there for 6 days, and that I didn't know, there was so much to do and so much relaxing to do that maybe that would take up a little bit of time. But I'm really open if the group wants to go and do something on an afternoon. That's all good. We can manage to fit that all in. And then in the evening we had dinner at 6:30. Obviously we needed to be eaten by 7. And then we did breath work as well. So on some nights, again, all optional, but the yoga nidra, don't miss it. We changed some of the days around in the end. We did it on our first night and our last night, and I think it was a real fitting way to end our sessions. So that's a rough idea of the daily schedule and the Chinese clock, the first couple of days of our workshops. And then we get into the Bart surfing. And this Bart surfing, once people got an idea of what it was, it became the talk of the town. And all week, everybody was trying to find out about their chart. They were trying to trip me up and get me to tell them what they were and what was going on. And then, of course, they started to try and guess who each other was, which was all really, really good fun. And it was really fascinating to see what came out. So what you can see here, this Venn diagram, is actually Chinese medicine metaphysics. And there's these 3 diagrams, and one is your constitution. So this is like your DNA. It's what you're born with. And this is what your Bart's astrology chart is made from, your date of birth. So we overlap your constitution with your environment. Now, your environment you can change to some degree. You can't change your DNA, obviously, but environment you can change to some degree, but it's not necessarily something you can change overnight. So, for example, we have the NHS in the UK, but not in America. So if you wanted the NHS, you'd have to move from America, and we know that's not an easy thing to do. So environment isn't always, sorry, that's snoring, isn't always as changeable as we might think it is. But there's things you can do. And Feng Shui sort of fits into that element of Chinese medicine. And then there's this area that's your choices. And this is the area that we kind of really want to affect. So when we understand our constitution, we can then make better choices because we know what's good for us. And then where it all comes together is it makes a difference to your health. So everybody got their chart, everybody found out what they were. As an example, I'll tell you what I am. I'm a tree. These are all things that you can observe in nature, or that are commonly around. There's 10 different ones of these. They're called signature energies, or day stems, and they really they show you what you are deeply inside and what people often see about you as well, which I find fascinating. So I'm a tree, and I'm always wanting to grow, which is why I'm always doing all these courses, and fairly solid, and anything you can think about a tree. I suppose it's quite protective. I'm all of those things. And then we had candles, and candles are lovely. They're very heart-centered because they're all about fire, but they're not like the sun blazing on you. They can be, a little less understated, always in pursuit of joy. And then we had mountains, and we had other trees. In fact, we had a bit of a forest, we had a mountain range. And so it was really, once we all knew what each other was, it was so fascinating to watch, and to understand how we all came. And one of the people there, who's actually a patient of mine, and I know she won't mind me sharing, she came to me with bladder problems, and her signature energy actually relates to the bladder. And the emotion she experiences quite a lot in life is fear, and the emotion attached to the bladder is fear. And so that has given her a whole new lease of life. Like when I found out I was a tree, it made me, I accepted that I like to grow, whereas a lot of people have always said, oh, you're always wanting to study and study and study, and I often felt it was the wrong thing to do. But now I know that that's okay. I have permission. It's part of my personality. It's what I need to do. I feel really good about it. And I think, for the person that found these things out about themselves, I gave them suggestions and tools for what would be helpful. So how do we look after our kidneys and our bladder? It's very simple, many of the suggestions. And often when I give people, patients ideas, they say, what else can I do? And I'm like, just the simple stuff is good enough. But it's just this general awareness. So hopefully you're as excited about that as everyone else was, and I am. I'm so passionate about Sir. I think about Butser. I think it really, really helps. I only, just as a caveat, I only look at it from a health perspective. I don't do it for jobs and luck and marriage and love and all of that. I'm very health focused, so I'm looking at how you can use this astrology to help you focus on supporting yourself. So that's the Butser. And then I mentioned earlier this, did I mention the concept of Yang Sheng? Yang Sheng translates as nourishment of life. It's all about, there's 9 different pillars, how you can live well and live long. And it doesn't matter what stage you are in life, you can always adopt some of these practices. We really focus on the 4 main ones, which are how you eat, move, sleep, and cultivate your mind, because they are the key. They're like the legs on the chair. We haven't got time to do all of it. And also Yang Sheng's very much about observing nature and living in line with the seasons. And as you already know, it's spring going into summer, so we are going to really focus on how we move forward during that time, as well as obviously I'll give you some support with Yang Sheng. So there's so much to do, so much to learn, or so much to let go of, as someone told me the other day. Chinese medicine is all about prevention, so that's why, nourishing life, these things and these treatments are all really important for us. So these wellness activities you can see here, there's acupuncture. I mean, I would consider sitting in the waterfall a wellness activity. We did yin and yang breathing in the caves. There's us, well, not me. Sadly, I didn't get to enjoy my own yoga nidra. Well, I did, but not lying down. And then most evenings we went for a little walk, actually, just to look at the mountains and be off site. And you'd rarely see anybody or anything as you went. So, enjoy them, as it says here, and if you like them, take them home. Let me just show you where we're coming up to an hour now, but I just want to show you a few more bits and pieces. This is Qigong. Oh God, can you hear the water? Lovely. This is really, really slow what we're doing here. It doesn't have to be this slow, but I wanted to show you how simple it can be. We don't hold this pose for a long time, and it can be done sorted. But Caroline, who's filming this, takes a little peek around, and you get to see what everyone who's participating gets to see. And there comes the sun. We welcome the sun peeking over the mountain. So that's the Qigong in the mountains, and hopefully you can see it's not too energetic or too difficult. If you've never done it before, you're going to find something new that you really love. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about the logistics. Really important that we know how we get there, etc. So we're going to relax, restore, and revitalize. I think we know that. We're less than an hour from Malaga Airport. You can travel. We can give you the times that I suggest for flights. You can travel alone or as a group, and all the transfers will be arranged, but there is an extra cost for that. I really think this is effortless well-being, because it's curated in a way that is taking all the good energy of the Chinese clock. So you don't have to worry about that. You just need to trust that you're learning things at the right time, you're eating at the right time. And even if that's all you did, ate and breathed that beautiful air and went in the lovely water, then, you would be feeling good. We get exclusive use of the centre as well, which I've mentioned a couple of times, but I do think that's an important thing to know. So costs and payments, I have an early bird, which is finishing on the 31st of October. So that's not long now. And that gives you around about £150 off. So it's a saving not to be sniffed at. So if you would like to come, as I say, I am limiting it. I don't want it to be lots and lots of people, because the beauty of it actually is the coming together of the people. I haven't really talked about that, but we find what we find when people come. So whoever is there, we'll make it their holiday and their retreat, and it was just so delicious last time. Everybody was so gorgeous. So yes, and there is a payment plan available. So as long as you've paid your deposit by the 31st, then you are entitled to the early bird cost, and you can pay on a monthly basis up until the 8th of April, or you can pay everything by the 8th of April, or we can pay by Klarna. There's so many ways you can do that via the website. Totally up to you, very flexible, and hopefully plenty of time now between now and April. So it doesn't, it's a relatively simple, not too taxing payment plan. And all the prices quoted here are per person. You can see there's a lot of single rooms there, twin rooms, and one deluxe king room. So you need to get in quick if you want that. It's got a bit of extra space, outside space. So that's the cost and payment. And I just wanted to leave really the final thoughts to Sasha, who's done this wonderful vlog for me, and also to Neil, who joined us, who said that sometimes the measure of a trip is the lasting impact it has beyond the happy memories. And he said he's continued to do stretching and his meditation in the mornings mixed in with some yoga. So that just made my heart sing, because that's the whole point of this. You get the wonderful wellness while you're away, but also you come home with some extra tools to take care of yourself. So anyway, that's enough for me. Let's hear it from Sasha.
When I think about the time I spent at Molino Del Rey, I have nothing but special memories of that time. By the end of the week, I was completely relaxed, restored, rested, having had a week with nobody needing me for anything. And the food was delicious and so nourishing. The venue was beautiful, set in the mountains with beautiful caves and hammocks and little spaces to read or relax or reflect, and just having this space and to feel so safe and cared for was incredible. One of my highlights will be waking up and before breakfast doing some qigong, which is like Tai Chi, watching the sunrise over the mountains. Just very, very special, a very special place. But I think what's blown me away the most is the teachings that Joe shared with us on Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy. In the workshops, I knew very little about Chinese medicine before coming on the retreat, and I've been blown away by how relevant the lessons are for everyday life. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I have now got this knowledge, which was imparted with such wisdom by Joe and humour, and it just was also beautiful as well. And these are lessons that I'll take forward with me, I think, forever, in terms of self-care and solutions to modern day problems that we all have. And I'm more equipped to be able to kind of respond more calmly to situations. I'm taking much more care of myself in terms of sleep and food and exercise. I've been inspired to do things to really nourish myself, and also emotional well-being as well. So I've been inspired to explore ways to cultivate positivity and compassion through mindfulness, meditation, and other ways, obviously yoga and qigong. So I don't hesitate to recommend going. It's been pretty much life-changing for me, and I absolutely loved every moment.
That's so lovely to hear that, and you know, that's come from someone who wasn't sure if they're actually going to make it onto the retreat, and yeah, it's mind-blowing for me. And I wonder, you know, so much. I don't know, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's just amazing. It's so wonderful to hear someone's life has changed so much, and you know, we're all in contact, and I hear so much from Sasha about what she's doing and how she's, you know, really taken so much on board, and it's just amazing. And I'm so proud and pleased for her. So I really, really hope you can join me. This last slide is just here really to remind everyone that if you book or pay your deposit before the 31st, you can save yourself £150. For more information, you can go to my website, which is www.menopoised.co.uk, or you can email me directly at joe@menopause. If you want to talk about any aspect of the retreat. If you want to, you can just go ahead and book on there if you want, but if you want to talk to me beforehand, then you can do that. So I'm just going to press stop on the recording, and then for those of you that have joined live, if you've got any questions or you want to say anything, then feel free to do that. So I'm just pressing stop. Cool. Are you sure you want to stop the recording to the cloud? Yep.